Hey everyone, it's been a while since I've done any videos on my Tandy computers or my Apple II, so I thought today I would do something fun with quote marks in the air. And we're going to base this on my definition of fun, which you're probably going to agree is not going to burn up the charts on the funometer or anything like that, but I still think it's going to be a lot of fun today. So what are we doing? Today I'm going to generate each of the error messages in Extended Color Basic on the Color Computer 3. So specifically, this is our list of errors here, and we're just going to go through this list alphabetically by error code, and we're going to create the state necessary to generate each of them. Most of these are going to be pretty trivial, and even the ones that aren't, it's not like it's going to take a rocket scientist to get these out. There will be no smoke pouring from the ears or anything like that. I guess some folks you might get a little steam, but this isn't exactly rocket surgery here. You might ask why I do this, and mainly the reason is you don't really see some of these errors very often, unless you happen to stumble upon them by accident or have a really difficult to debug problem. And there's just a little bit of kind of thought and understanding what BASIC's doing under the covers to be able to get the machine in a state to generate these. And again, this is nothing complex, and it's not genius level work. It's just something I thought would be fun. I'm not going to do the disk basic error messages today. I'm just going to do Extended Color Basic on the CoCo 3. But I am going to use the disk. Anybody who's seen my videos before knows that you put a camera on me and apparently I forget how to type. So I have a few little assistive programs to help me along. So without further ado, let's get cracking. The first one, AO, already open. So this one occurs when you try to open a file on a device handle that already has a file open on it. Okay, and I'm going to use the cassette for this one. The great thing about using the cassette is it's not actually connected. The CCR81 is not on, but I can write to the port and the computer will just write to it. It just assumes that the cassette is ready and doesn't really have any way of knowing whether it's not. So there we go. I opened a file on device number -1, that's the cassette, and then I opened another one on the same device and got an AO error already open. The next one, bad subscript. So for this one, this occurs when you dimension an array and then you try to access an index of the array that is outside of the predefined dimensions. So here I defined A to 3, and I just set A4, which is outside of the dimensions of the array. So BS error, bad subscript. And BS is an error I'd love to give people at work. There are some people that just, it's not even shovelfuls of it. They've got truckloads of some other kind of BS that's not a bad subscript. We continue? Speaking of continuing, the next error is CN, cannot continue. So if I had a program running and it broke execution, I could run the continue cont command. Sounds like a dirty word, but it's not. I swear there's an O in there. And resume execution. Well, there's no currently executing program or interrupted execution, so there's nothing to continue. CN error. DN error. So this is device number. This occurs if I try to access a device that does not exist on the system. So here, I'm going to write a file to device number -5. DN error. There is no number -5. So that causes a DN error. Direct statement. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to need help from a little program called WRData. And again, this is to save you watching me type in this stupid little program. And there will be some other ones I type, but you'll just have to go with it. And I just heard the relay click. I didn't actually close my cassette port file before, but loading the file from disk closed it for me. Anyway, what this is going to do is create a file on the disk called data/dat. It's going to print one datum to it, the word fart, and it's going to close the file. And now we can make use of this file for a bunch of the downstream exercises today. But this one, DS, what does it have to do with a DS error? Well, if I try and load my data file, I get a DS or direct statement error. So this occurs if you try to load a program from disk and that program does not have line numbers. BASIC encounters what it believes to be a statement. And while fart is not a statement, I guess you could make a statement with a fart, but either way, direct statement. The next one, division by 0. Well, that's easy. What's 9/0? Division by 0 error. Dividing by 0 is impossible, and as the manual says, even for computers. Okay, the next one, FC, illegal function call. This error occurs if you call a command or a function and feed it a value that is out of bounds. So for example, This machine has 16 palette slots numbered 0 through 15 and 64 color slots numbered 0 through 63. If I try and assign palette slot 17, color code 53, I get an FC error. There is no palette slot 17, so that is an illegal function call. FD error, bad file data. So for this one, I'm going to need a little help from another one of my little programs that I wrote for this exercise, read data. And what this program is going to do is open the previously written data/dat, and it's going to try to input from that file and store the value into a numeric. So the program is going to expect numeric data, and it is going to find a string. And there it is, FD and an error in 20, bad file data. You told me it was numeric, but the file contained a string, therefore the file must have bad data. Next one, bad file mode error. So this one is pretty easy to generate too. I'm just going to open I1 data/dat. Okay. And now I'm going to try and write to it. See, this is why I don't type. I hit break. I'll do that again. Hello, you rummy buzzard. FM error, bad file mode. I opened a file for input I, and then I tried to write to it. Next one, HP error, high-res print error. This occurs if you try to execute a high-resolution text screen command on a low-resolution text screen, or vice versa. So since I'm on the low-resolution 32-column text screen, I will write locate 3, 2, which is a width 40 or 80 statement, and there we go, HP error. If I had been on the width 40 or 80 screen and run a print at, I would get the same error. HR, high-res graphics error. This occurs if you try to execute a high-resolution graphics statement without first initializing a high-resolution graphics screen. P1. There we go, HR error. That also sounds like something that would happen on Thursdays for HR Thursdays. See my BS error. I didn't say I was funny. Okay, ID, illegal direct statement. So in this version of BASIC, this is pretty easy to generate. I can just type input $, and extended color BASIC does not like the use of the input statement. In direct mode, you have to have a line number. Interestingly enough, GW BASIC on the Tandy 1000 SX does allow input, as a direct statement. It will not generate the ID error. IE, input past end. So for this one, I'm going to need my read data program again. Close number 1 list. Okay, so I'm going to fix line 20 here to bring in a string. And I'm also going to add another one and read from the file again. So now, as we all know, data/dat has one datum in it, the word fart, and it occurs one time. So I'm going to read that one element, and then I'm going to try and read another data element from the file, and it's going to explode. There it is, IE error in 25. Input past end of file. Okay, the next one is an IO error. So for that one, I'm just going to unmount the disk, and I'm going to take a directory. The other way I like to generate this error is by playing a cassette mid-file. So if you load a cassette in here and the machine doesn't get the leader but senses what it believes to be data, it'll throw an IO error as well. But this was easier to do. And push the button again so my disk is mounted. Okay. LS, string too long. So interestingly enough, in the default state, I can't generate a string that's too long and that results in this error. So the maximum string size being, 256 bytes, 0 to 255, or 1 to 255. I don't remember if 0 works on this or not. But either way, the amount of string space available by default is not that much. So we're going to clear some string space, and then we're going to okay, so what I'm going to do is take a $, keep appending 10 or 11 spaces to it, and I'm going to do that 100 times. What do I have here? Oh, let's delete 25 and 40. All right, run that again. Okay, there we go. LS error. Forgot I left my old program in memory and didn't type new first. So anyway, there's my LS error, string too long. So I exceeded the maximum number of characters that could be contained in any one string. NF, next without for. Well, this one's easy to generate. Just type next. There's no corresponding for loop, so it says, hey, go to the next iteration in the for loop. And it then goes, what for loop? Next without for. NO, not open. So interestingly enough, you just saw that error, but I'll generate it again anyway. That occurs if you try to access a input or output. Actually, yeah, I'll do that. I will say print number 1, comma, hello. Not hello, hello. And you'll get an NO error, not open. So device number 1 does not have an open file associated with it, so you get a not open error. File not open. OD, out of data. So this one's pretty easy. This time we'll run the program. 1 to 50, 20, read D, 30, next, X, 40, end, 50, data, 1, 2, 3. So what I have here is a loop that's going to try and read 50 data elements, and it's only going to encounter 3. So when it gets to the 4th spot in the loop, it's going to blow up. And there it is, OD error. You asked me to read a data element, and there was not a corresponding element available for me to read. Okay, OM, out of memory. So this one's easy enough to generate. I can do this rather than wait for me to fill the machine's memory up. I can just try and clear to an area that is below the beginning program space for BASIC here. So if I go to 9,000, I'll get an OM error. I can't set the memory, the maximum address available to BASIC, to be too low. If I do, the computer will just refuse to do it, and it'll give me an OM error. And you can tell that it refused to do it because I still have 22,361 bytes at free. OS, out of string space. So I noted before, if I weren't doing these errors in order, I could have done this before my clear statement, but we're doing them in order that they appear in the manual. So I'm going to clear 100 bytes of string space, and then I'm going to 28 $ equals a $ plus. Okay, and I'm just going to 40 and 50, so now I should just have that. Okay, here we go. OS error in 20. So I allocated 100 bytes of string space, and then I tried to use more than 100 bytes in string space by appending 10 spaces to a $ 50 times. That's going to be 400 more bytes than I have string space. Overflow error. So that one's easy enough. 5a equals 33, and 20a equals a times blah. I'm going to run this. Overflow error in 20. So I took an initial value and then kept multiplying itself over and over again by 872,333 and came up with a number that exceeded the maximum size of a numeric variable. Overflow error. Next one, return without GoSub, RG. This one's easy enough to generate. I just type return. There was no GoSub to which to return. This is quite the opposite of what happened to the Rainbow magazine and Lonnie Falk's words. It landed in the land of a GoSub without a return. Well, Lonnie, there's your return. It's not really going to help him or the Rainbow. Both are long gone. Syntax error. This one's probably the most frequent one that we see. Hi, I'm your. There we go. SN error, syntax error. So I typed print with too many I's. Okay, ST, string formula 2 complex. For this one, again, we're going to have a little bit of an assistive program loaded here. And we're going to list this out. And basically what I have here is a formula that appends letters of the alphabet, but does so in increasingly nested parentheses. I'll give that a run. ST error in 10, string formula 2 complex. Okay, 2 more to go. TM, type mismatch. This occurs if you assign a string to a numeric variable or a number to a string variable. So if I set numeric A to fart, I get a TM error, type mismatch. And finally, UL, undefined line. So my program here has lines 10 and 20. Let's try to edit 30. And there is no line 30. It is an undefined line. So there you have it. Those are all of the extended color basic error message in the Color Computer 3. Again, this is my definition of fun. Talk about fun on a Saturday night. Well, anyway, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.